Tyreek Hill, this offense, this team. You read the title. Let's jump into it. What is up, Finn fans? Yes, we are going to talk about what Tyreek Hill had to say, some news coming out about the backup quarterback position, and Barry Jackson had a very interesting article that we're going to run down quickly because I'm going to go more in depth with kind of the idea about what the article's about in a future video. But first and foremost, I do have to shout out today's sponsor. And if we are talking about making moves, if we're talking about making the team better and all the stress that comes with it, I got to shout out today's sponsor. As a 18-year-old, I want to try Via, give it a try. I am dealing with literally right as of me recording this, my anxiety is just at a max for personal reasons that I will delve into maybe at a later date. So I don't. So if I feel you, if you're in that situation that I am right now mentally, I feel you, because my anxiety is, I had an attack like a week ago. It's just, but you guys, I consider this channel, you guys and girls are close to me. When the time comes, I'll let you guys know what's going on personally. But as of right now, boy. So let's talk about what is going on with this Miami Dolphins team. So Barry Jackson had this tweet out here, which I thought was incredibly interesting, saying, at this point, the message from Hill's camp is the hope that the Dolphins roster is further bolstered so they can win. So it seems like from Tyreek Hill's camp and his frustration, and we all know what happened at the end of the Jets game and how he took himself out of the game, which again, to me is a big no-no. You don't do that, especially you got that C on your jersey. You shouldn't be taking yourself out of these games. But obviously he's frustrated. He's used to being on the Kansas City Chiefs where they were winning. He had Patrick Mahomes. He had the defense, Super Bowl appearances, all this stuff. And then he comes to Miami. They were hot in 2023. They were bad in 2024. It's like all of this whirlwind of stuff is going on. And now we're not good. So now he's like, hey, man, I really hope you go out there and you move the cap space around and you bolster this MFer up, because I'm not happy. And if you go back and watch my video of, what would happen if 2025 fails or whatever, that's kind of where the mindset that the Dolphins are. This is it. We talk about last season, pushing all their chips in and, F the picks and yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. No, this is it. Because I personally think come week 10, right? Tuesday, because Monday you have a game. Tuesday of week 10, right? We're getting ready to go into week 10, wherever we're going to play Sunday, or if we have a bye, whatever. If the Dolphins have 1 or 2 wins, I will be shocked if either Chris Greer or Mike McDaniel's still on this team. Like, there's no way they could survive a 2-7, or, I don't know if they have a bye week, a 2-7, 2-6, or whatever type of season again. There's no way that Stephen Ross is just going to sit back and be like, we'll let it. They will be fired. So having Tyreek Hill come out and say that his camp, the message from Hill's camp is the hope that Dolphins roster is further bolstered so they can win. I'm pretty sure that is the message from all of our camps. All the Dolphin fan camps. But we're in a situation, we're in a little bit of a pickle. And again, I have videos. I'm waiting till after the Super Bowl. If you're like, Doug, you telling me you got all these videos, and at the end of the day, you're not making the videos. I am waiting for after the Super Bowl. Once Sunday comes and goes, to me, the year is over. We start with free agency. I'm going to talk about caps. I'm going to talk about cut, resign, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. But as you see here, we're in a little bit of a pickle. We're at negative $11.7 million in cap space. So we need to make some moves, move some digits around. But if you see as well who is to the Miami Dolphins right and has less money, not by much, hundreds of thousands, but the Buffalo Bills have negative 12.4 million in cap space. So you see the Jets and you see the Patriots sitting there, and they're probably, licking their chops like, ooh, the Dolphins and the Bills have no money. We got new coaches and we're bringing in this and that. We got all this cap space to work with. We're going to take this division over. We thought the same thing last year, and Buffalo still did Buffalo things. As long as they got Josh Allen, that's here nor there. But like I said, I got videos planned, literally next week. We roll right into free agency, getting ready for free agency. Then we get ready for the draft. I have so much content. Hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. One other thing I want to talk about before we get into Barry Jackson's kind of article about case-for-case basis. Another name has emerged in Dolphins' plans to add an established veteran backup quarterback. And this was tweeted out multiple times from multiple people. And yes, tomorrow I will make a video talking about Cooper Kupp and Myles Garrett. Don't you worry, your pretty little head. I will talk about them. But I'm trying to find the tweet because I kind of was indifferent about it, and I don't know. No, I can't find it. But essentially, the consensus out there is that the Miami Dolphins have somewhat of an interest in Marcus Mariota. I can't find the tweet. I would show you the tweet. I'm trying to talk and look at the same time because I wasn't excited, but at the same time I wasn't like, oh, really? Oh, here it is. It's a video, and I will essentially tell you what is happening here. But Pat McAfee had Adam Schefter on, and I'm going to tell you what he said. He said there could be a little bit of an interest in Marcus Mariota between the Raiders and the Dolphins. I said, I'm not excited or disappointed by this news. It is what it is. It's like, all right, it is what it is. I don't see that as a bad thing. And essentially what Adam Schefter said is there could be a little bit of interest in Marcus Mariota between the Raiders and the Dolphins. He's going to have some choices this offseason. Schefter mentioned Miami after noting that the Raiders could sign Mariota to work with new coach Pete Carroll and their offensive coordinator Chip Kelly, who previously worked with Mariota for 2 years at Oregon. Schefter added, I'll tell you where else Mariota is going to be an option with Tua, his good friend. He'll be an option there. He's going to have some interesting options this offseason. And I don't hate it, and I'm not like, boom, I would be stoked with Mariota as a backup because it's not a bad move, and there are going to be a plethora of veteran backup quarterback positions or availabilities or options is the word I wanted to use for the Miami Dolphins. And again, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this again, but I have videos planned for that. So I will go over them, but Mariota is on my list. Him and Andy Dalton and some others, and they're not splashy, and they're not guys who are going to break the bank because the Miami Dolphins kind of have to focus on other positions, mostly the defense, with the money that they hopefully can conjure up this offseason because Dolphins need help on the defensive side. They don't need that much on the offensive side. To me, you need guards. You need 2 guards. I think they're going to run with Patrick Paul. You got Austin Jackson coming back. I'm fine with Anthony Brewer. You need some depth on the O-line. Your 2 starting guards, and you give me a tall receiver, and I'm good going into the draft on the offense. So you're not going to spend $10 million on a backup quarterback. So you're not going to go out there and get Sam Darnold. You're not going to go out there and get these types of backup quarterbacks. But again, I have videos planned for this. We will talk about it. I even made a video already talking about the Dolphins quarterback situation. Will they draft? Won't they draft? All that stuff. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be extremely interesting. So Barry Jackson came out, said where every player on the Dolphins offense stands and the case for consensus for keeping each. Now he goes on talking about Tyreek Hill and the case to keep him. Obviously, the case to keep him is if you cut him, you'll get assets in draft picks. Well, not cut him, but if you part ways with him, you'll get assets and draft picks, but you won't really get anything. The case to keep him is because of his contract. He says, the view here, keep him, but find a way to get him the ball more. There's no way to justify the drops in targets from 170 and 171 his first 2 years to 123 this past year. The only sensible trade in our view that would make sense for Miami would be trading him after June 1st for a very good guard or safety and a 2026 draft inventory. Miami then would recap cap benefits. So like Barry's saying, the only way we're going to move on from Tyreek Hill is after June 1st if we don't get what we need in the draft and onwards. Then he also talks about Jalen Waddle, the case for keeping him, his contract, and I think Waddle will be needed post Hill era, so moving on from him now would be defeating. Also, he's good. The case for parting ways. If a team is willing to offer two picks in the first 3 rounds, perhaps an internal conversation is warranted. The view here, keeping him because Hill's Dolphin shelf life is short. Waddle is part of that core. He is more important to this team, and this is going to hurt some people's feelings, and I apologize if this does hurt your feelings. To me, Waddle has more longevity and is more important to this team than Tua Tagovailoa is, because the quarterback position, if you're not doing what you need to do, and if you're not getting us where we need to be, they will move off you very quickly, whereas Waddle, he had an off year. Tron Armstead, the case for him to return. He's still one of the best guys out there. He played 15 of the last 17 games this past season. Also, his $22.1 million cap hit for 2025 will drop only to 18.5 if he's cut June 1st. The case for parting ways. They need the cap space, and he's still kind of injury prone. He still gets banged up. The view here, Armstead doesn't deserve to take another pay cut, but a cut to lower both his salary and cap hit would seem the only feasible way for him to return because of Miami's severe cap crunch. If only the Dolphins ask him to take a pay cut for a second year in a row, why would he accept that after playing at a high level this season? He could opt to retire instead because of his knee issues, so parting ways seems more likely, but that's speculating. I could see him retiring. Like I've said time and time again, him on the Jets, not on the Jets, but him at that Jets game when he was sitting on the sideline when he had to take himself out because that knee injury broke my heart. Aaron Brewer, case for his return. He played well, and he's only getting $6.4 million, so it's affordable. Case of parting, his cap hit would drop to 4.4 if it was a post June 1st trade, so you can save some money, but again, the view here is just going to keep him. Right tackle Austin Jackson, case for his return, he's not bad, and again, his cap space isn't bad. The case for parting ways, there is none. They're going to keep him. Guard Liam Eichenberg and Robert Jones, the case for a return, I see none, but let's see what Barry has to say. They're serviceable and would have value as low money backups who could play multiple positions, but they didn't block well enough, especially in the run game, to warrant returning as starters. The case for parting ways. I'm not even going to read it to you. They suck. The view here, if either want to return at a minimum or slightly above, fine. They're good teammates, tough, and have position versatility, but Miami needs better starters. Agreed. Durham Smythe, the case for his return. Literally all he says, he's reliable. The case to part his way. Save cap space. The view here, both parties need a fresh start. Miami needs the cap savings. Yeah, Durham Smythe's going to be a cap casualty. Julian Hill, the case for his return. He's had several good blocks on run plays, and he's cheap. The case to part with him, he's not good. I'm not even going to go read through it. He's not good. The view here, keep him at a cheap backup, but find a better primary inline blocking tight end. Yeah. And then finally, he ends with Alec Ingold. To keep him, obviously, teammate, leader, all that stuff. To part ways, it would just have to do with calorie sap. dyslexia, salary cap. The view here, see if he's willing to restructure at the moment. His 2025 Dolphins cap hit would drop from 4.8 to 1.2 if he was cut after June 1st. I'd like to keep allocating gold around. And then Raheem Mostert to keep him. He's just 1 year removed from having a great season, and he's affordable at $2.4 million non-guaranteed. The case to part with him. I'm not even going to read this. I'm just going to assume we have Jalen Wright. We have Devon Achane. He fumbled. There's just no point in keeping him. And again, I will talk about this with cuts and re-signs. The view here, the Dolphins, the fact the Dolphins played him only one snap with no carries in the finals suggests that this is the end. He's still a good player, but Miami needs a big payback to supplement Achane and Wright. FYI, the Dolphins' unrestricted free agents on offense are Eichenberg, Jones, right tackle Kendall Lamb. He's going to retire. Braxton Berrios and running back Jeff Wilson and guard Isaiah Wynn and tight end Jack Stoll. Receiver Anthony Schwartz and Keon Smith are restricted free agents. Greer raved about Smith last month. And receiver Grant Dubois. I will talk to you guys about what the difference is between unrestricted and restricted free agents after Sunday when we get into all of the cap stuff, all of the free agent stuff. You have one more week of me talking about things that you probably like. Doug, get to the point. And then we will talk about who we should cut, who we should re-sign, how to fix the cap, all of this stuff. All of this stuff. And then we go into targets and needs, and it's just, you're going to be like, wow, free agency. And then we go into the draft, and I break down draft prospects because now I start doing my draft research and all that stuff. So got a lot to talk about. Tomorrow we're going to talk about Myles Garrett and Cooper Kupp and maybe some other things. And then I'm going to pick my Super Bowl win, who I think is going to win. I got a lot planned for you guys this week. I am not live streaming the Super Bowl. I'm going to spend it hanging out with my wife. But yeah, I got a lot planned. Before we get out of here, I'll read you the fact for today. When the Dolphins went 9-8 in a wild card playoff season in 2002, they posted a winning record for the third consecutive season for the first time since capping a run of 7 in a row in 2003. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that thumbs up if you did. It lets me know, hey, keep doing your thing, Doug, and I appreciate it. Also, subscribe if you're new, if you like what you're hearing, and I will see you guys tomorrow. But like usual, stay classy. My friends up.